are given ratings based on performance in those 3 areas, or we call them domains. Domain 1 is specific to student achievement. This is based on STAR performance and measures what students know or are able to do at the end of 1 year of instruction. For elementary and middle schools, this is 100% of the Domain 1 score, the STAR score. For high schools and for districts, the STAR performance is only a portion of that domain score. The other portion is related to their college and career military readiness, as well as the graduation rates. And in Domain 1, it is the state graduation rate, so we get to calculate the best of. In Domain 2, it's specific to school progress. This is a growth measure, and so it measures how much better students are doing on STAR than they did last year. So student in 2018 to the same student in 2017. And then also it is an evaluation of the student achievement in Domain 1. So basically how impressive is your Domain 1 score? And that is as compared to other similar campuses and districts who have the similar economic disadvantage percentage as we do. Domain 3 is closing the gaps. This is the state plan for compliance with the federal USDE requirements of ESSA, which is Every Student Succeeds Act. According to the U.S. Department of Education, only the students who achieve NEETS level performance are used in this calculation. This calculation also looks at each of the subpopulations and how well they are doing. 70% of the overall accountability rating for the campuses and the districts is based on the best of Domain 1 or Domain 2, and then 30% of the overall score is based on Domain 3, closing the gaps. And more information can be found at the TEA website regarding the 2018 State Accountability System. Report cards. This is the district report card from 2017. It shows the 4 different columns reflecting the index system and the scores therein, and the word rating of MET standard. You can see in 2018, it's a new report card. It's a new accountability system. This report card is intended to be somewhat reminiscent of report cards we're used to seeing. So TEA has scaled the scores to be something that we recognize as equivalent to a letter score. So you can see the top line has the overall district rating. The scaled score is 89, therefore the rating is B, and that's what you saw on the cover page. And then underneath that in the gray areas are the 3 domains: student achievement, Domain 1, score of 86, school progress, Domain 2, score of 90, and then closing the gaps, Domain 3, score of 88. So in this new accountability system, the district gets to use the best of Domain 1 or Domain 2. So Domain 1 student achievement score is 86, Domain 2 is 90. So the only score on this report card that went into the overall calculation was the 90, and that was 70%. And then the 88 is the other 30%, giving the district a score of 89 and an overall rating of B for letter rating. And then the distinction designations, districts who achieve an A, B, C, or D rating are eligible to achieve a distinction designation, only one, and that is post-secondary readiness. According to TEA, of the 1,200 districts evaluated, only 61, which is 5% of the districts, earned a distinction for post-secondary readiness. Campuses that receive the overall rating of MET standard are eligible to receive as many as 7 designations. Again, according to TEA, out of over 4,000 campuses, 52% earned 1 or more distinction. So this also is new this year. This is the online report card. This is what parents are encouraged to go investigate on the tx.schools.org website. and it has the overall rating. You can see the B here, which is the 89 out of 100. And then the domain breakdown is below, and I'm sorry, here's the website, txschools.gov is the website. And parents, community, whoever's interested, this is public information. People can go dig into the data there. And there are report cards for all the campuses as well as the district. So this was last year's report card for Vernia High School 2016-2017. The high school report card here as compared to the 2018 report card, it looks a little bit different, but you can still see that campuses received a word rating. So while the district received a rating of a B, which is a letter grade, for this year, the final year, campuses will receive a word rating, and the high school received a Met Standard rating, which made them eligible for distinctions. But you can also see that as reported publicly, TEA produced the numbers here that are equivalent to the scale scores for each of the domains. So while the campuses weren't designated a letter grade, the scores were made available to the public. As of next school year, campuses and districts will receive a letter rating. This is 2016-17 Vernia Junior High. And this is the 2018 school report card for Vernia Junior High. Again, you see the overall rating here, Met Standard, as well as here. The scale scores here. And then the distinctions received by the junior high were comparative academic growth and comparative closing the gaps. This is Vernia Intermediate 2016-17 in comparison to 2018 school report card. Vernia Intermediate Met Standard with an overall score, scale score of 91. And then they were eligible for a distinction designation of comparative academic growth. Most of the information at the bottom, the school and student information, that is about the same as what has been reported in the past. And then Vernia Primary, because they are not a STAR tested campus, they don't serve grade levels that have STAR assessments. They are what we call a paired campus, and so at the beginning of each school year, the districts select to pair the paired campuses with either the district overall rating or another campus. Vernia Primary, again, is paired with the intermediate campus, and so they adopt the rating that the intermediate campus achieved. But on their report card, you will see the rating of NA and the scale score of NA. So this graph shows information, it's just a graphic representation of what's reported on the TAPR. New in this year's TAPR, one thing I didn't mention at the beginning, there's a new version of the TAPR. And you are gonna laugh because last year we joked about TAPR on the TAPR. Well, this year it's TAPR on the paper TAPR, and I did make that up. TEA really is moving toward the online format for a lot of documentation. And the TAPR is one of them. And so this year they have the online format, which is interactive and more up to date, but they also have what they're calling the paper TAPR, and that's the traditional PDF version we're used to seeing, and those are all posted on our website, and I'll show you where in just a moment. But if you hear me refer to the paper TAPR, that's what it is. For school progress, since it's the first year we have the domain system, it's only going to show 1 year reported on the TAPR. And then also the closing the gaps, just remember that's needs only. So for this graph, this represents information reported on the TAPR, specifically with regard to domain 1, because this chart shows approaches grade level or above. And if you'll remember from last year, we talked about the different performance levels, and approaches grade level is considered passing, but this is the lowest level that students can achieve and still be considered to have passed. So on this graph you see all subjects, and then we have it divided up among tests. These are all tests, all grades that are tested, so grades 3 and above. And the green is, just to orient you a little bit, the green is going to be the state performance. The yellow is the region performance. The light blue is Vernia ISD in 2017, and the dark blue is Vernia ISD in 2018. So you can see from this graph, at approaches grade level, we outperform not only the state and the region, but also ourselves from last year. Except for social studies, there's a slight dip. And I will tell you, because we did have the index system and now we have the domain system, in achieving this chart, there had to be a recalculation. And so this is apples to apples. This is not 2017 under the old accountability system compared to now. TEA has recalculated the 2017 data as if it were in the 2018 accountability system. So this is apples to apples. Meets and above, so this is the next performance level up. And if you remember when we talked about domain 3, according to the U.S. Department of Education, they only consider meets grade level. So these are students who will be prepared for the next course and next grade with very limited or targeted support needed. You can see the green, again, is the state, the yellow is the region, the blue is 2017 Vernia, the light blue, and then the dark blue is 2018 performance. And so this is where we start to see a gap between the state and region and our Vernia students. And then finally, the master's grade level, this is the highest performance. You can see again that Vernia outperforms the state and the region. In writing, we take a dip at the master's level, but in all the other areas we are outperforming our state and regional peers, especially in math. Math is a huge area of good performance there. Also required as part of the annual report is our program participation. This is part of the TAPR. I just put it in graph form for you. Just a reminder, the bilingual ESL percentage, that is our non-English proficient students, also known as English learners. That's the percentage compared to the total student population. So that does not include our dual language students who are English proficient in that number. And then part of the annual report is, according to the education code, each district has to publish the incidences of violent and criminal acts on the campuses or at the district level. This year, Vernia has no violent or criminal incidents to report. So that's a good blank screen there. And then I'm going to ask my colleague Jackie Simmons, who is over at Advanced Academics, she's going to come talk to you about this portion of the TAPR, which requires districts to report how their students are doing post-high school, post-graduation.
Good evening, everybody. So this report, it's based on the 2017 graduates. This chart, and this information comes from the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, and it reports on our students who enroll in 2-year or 4-year public universities or colleges. So if you look on the left column, you'll see where it says independent colleges and universities. Those could be private or out of state, so they don't track that. Not found means they probably did not enroll in a 2-year or 4-year college. But if you look across where it says 4-year public and 2-year public universities and colleges at the GPA for that class, for that year, for those students. So you have, if you look, they'll have those that made less than a 2.0, and then it goes up from there. So you have your 2.0 to 2.5 and 2.5 to 2.99 and so on. And so if you look, our graduates, you put it on a bell curve and really look at it, they're doing, the 2.5, it keeps going up. So we're doing well there. But that's just the, 110, 12 students that enrolled in 2-year or 4-year public institution of higher learning in the state of Texas. So, okay, so with, like as Kelly explained a while ago, from domains, some is college and career and military readiness. So it breaks it up into college ready, then career and military ready, and then it's all of them together. And as TEA loves to do, really complicated formulas. But just to give you an idea of what we did, so that if you look, these are what are determined, and again from the 2017 class, are what were determined to be college-ready graduates. And some of the criteria for that is at the bottom. So TSI criteria, so TSI and ELA and math, that could be on the TSI itself, that could be ACT scores, that could be SAT scores at a certain level. So if you will look, the green is the state, Region 20, which is San Antonio, South Texas area, is yellow, and then Vernia ISD is the blue. So we're definitely outperforming in those areas. And then those that made both. Dual credit, that's if they get 3 hours of dual credit in either math or ELA, or 9 in any other subject combined. So again, we're outperforming there. AP is a score of 3 or higher. Associate's degrees, which we don't have any of those. And then and overall, our college readiness is, you can see we're above the region for sure, and just above the state average on what are determined to be college ready graduates based on this one. So career and military graduates they take into account some different criteria. It could be, again, if you look towards the bottom, approved industry or certification completion. That, what it was based on last year, will be changing to next year because the state has added, they went from a list of about 75 certifications to about close to 200 that will now count. So that will help us immensely. And then if you look, CTE, coherent sequences, and that's kind of deceptive. It looks like we're really low, but that's if they aren't getting it, the recognition in other areas too. So we can do better, but it's kind of a little wonky as how it's calculated. Armed forces, those are who enlist in our military. And so if you look at our career or military graduates, because the state and the region, and then us at the very end there on the right.
I just want to add, with the change in the accountability system from 2017 to 2018, if you remember a few years back, the big push was CTE, coherent sequence. That's what everybody was chasing. Well, in the middle of the performance year, last year, TEA decided that instead of giving 1 point, you get points for each student that gets it's either a yes or no. And so instead of giving 1 point as an award for CTE coherent sequence, they awarded a 0.5. And so they changed direction from the push to CTE coherent sequence, that's what we were counting on, and they moved the target to other things like approved industry certifications, which you heard were limited last year. Now they're opening them up some more. So these are just some variables that don't show up on the chart that we kind of get dinged on when the target moves on us a little bit.
And then, so the last overall, this is combined of the two, and factors where they got 1 in each area, in the college ready and then the career military ready. And you'll see there that overall we are just above the region and just below the state. And again, I think with some of the changes they're making in CTE and certifications and things next year, I think we'll see some of that change as well. Because that is coming from a need that rural districts like ourselves, the certifications weren't really available for us because we weren't in a place that really offered that industry. And now hopefully we will be able to catch up with that.
Another portion of the annual report is the team's financial budget reports. These are available to the public on the TEA website. This is based on 2017, 2018 team submissions that occurred throughout the year. As of the week before spring break, when I last checked, The actual reports were still not available, and if you go to the link, it actually says spring 2019 is their promise date. So I guess we're still within that window, but they're not currently posted. And then there's an additional requirement that districts make these reports widely available. So just to give you some points of reference, they are available at the TDA website, which the link is the #1 listed up there where you can find the paper. We've also attached the paper reports for the district and for each campus on our website. This information has been modified just slightly. We tried to make it a little more user-friendly, and so instead of departments and programs, here you would just go to the About Us link and then click on Accountability, and then you'll see the TAPR reports, and all of them are in the same location, along with the school report cards. Additionally, the state asks or encourages campuses and districts to make these reports available to people who may not have access to the internet. So the annual report will be made available at the district offices and campus offices if anyone doesn't have access to the internet there. One more thing on this slide, the requirement from TEA is that as of the first 10 days of instruction in next school year, 2019-20, that we have this current 2017-18 TAPR posted online. So we've already done that, and so we're already within that compliance to report it there. So if you have any additional information, or if you have some trouble finding the accountability manual, it's lots of fun reading. I can get you there, so you can feel free to contact me for more. Thank you.
Are there any public comments regarding this report? I'm going to begin our regular meeting. There is a quorum present. As stated in the notice of regular meeting, the board may convene in closed session at any time if deemed necessary under any applicable provision of Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, including the provision permitting closed session consultation with legal counsel. The board president may elect to address any items listed on the agenda in any sequence. Please stand for the pledge.
Can I have our primary students that are here tonight to come up to say the pledge with me? Come with me. You're okay. Hi. Thank you so much. I do. Hi, friends. We are honored to have some of our UIL participants in the primary here to say our pledge. They'll get to introduce themselves to you in just a little bit. You guys ready? I'll start us. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father God, we come to you and thank you for giving us an opportunity to meet and discuss the business of the district. Just like the pledge of our country says, we are under your rule and your control, and we ask that the things we do are pleasing to you, and that at the end of this meeting, our district is a little more where you want it to be. And I pray this in your son Jesus' name.
Now we'll have our board celebration. Everybody have any comments about?
I do.
Okay.
So I got to participate and was around the Vernia stock show here first part of March. And yeah, I just look at all the kids and their projects that they did, how proud they were, how much time they spent on them, whether it was animals, arts and crafts, baked goods. So I just want to recognize the kids and how they participated in the stock show, and they're very, very proud of their projects. But also, if you were able to attend, and you attended the auction on Saturday that lasted from noon to 9:45, and I was there the whole time. It was a long day, but you look at our community and how they support our kids in their projects. There was over $500,000 that was given to our kids for their projects. And you know, you think $500,000, that's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. And when you look at it from Lavernia and you look at who is bidding on those projects and supporting our kids for future college education, it's local community members, it's local businesses. And so, I mean, it is a very, very proud moment. I just wanted to recognize the community for the support, as well as the kids that participated in those projects. Thank you.
I would also like to recognize, in fact, I was here during spring break and saw that a lot of people were on vacation, but I saw a lot of activity here at the school. You know, baseball and softball were doing their things. Speech and debate was at a conference. The Business Professionals of America, I believe, were at a conference, and competitions. And so even though the school was shut down, there were a lot of kids working, a lot of teachers working, and a lot of parents supporting that. So I just like to recognize that some people just didn't get a break, but it was, but I believe they all had a good time doing what they passionately love to do. All right, we'll move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Levette.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Burkle, members of the board. Just a couple items to update you on this evening. As you know, we've had a request for qualification RFQ out for architect services. We have received 4 bids on that. We are working on developing the committee, and we'd like some trustees to be a part of that. The plan is to provide the firms that submitted their bids an opportunity to make a presentation and undergo an interview with our committee, and we hope to have that recommendation by the May board meeting for you all. That firm will then start helping us with our capacity analysis and our facility needs assessment moving forward. The second item, a huge celebration to Ms. Garza, Valerie R., and the Lavernia primary team, and Ms. Berg. They screened every kindergartner this year for gifted and talented education. And previously, the district relied on referral process. So for 2017-18, the district identified 8 students in the kindergarten program to be identified as gifted and talented. And this year, the screening of all the applicants, 29 students were identified. And we offered a spot in the GT program. 14 of those 29 students were identified through the screening process. So 15 were in the referral process, but 14, almost half, were through the fact of the hard work of the effort of Ms. Garza, Ms. R., and the primary team. And that's just really outstanding. That's a lot of students in the GT program. I have on the list to give you the update on the Lone Star Cup. Update number 4 should have come out March the 15th, 2019. I just actually checked a few minutes ago, and it still is not out. So there's not an update on that. So right now, since there's no update from March the 15th, we are still number 5 overall in the state, which is the January 25th update that I shared with you all previously. And the last thing is, and this is a huge kudo to Ms. Martin and the team at the high school. For the 2017-18 school year, the class of 2018 earned $3.2 million in scholarship money. And as of March the 4th, the senior class of 2019 has already earned $765,000 in scholarship. And we're just starting in scholarship season. I know I've written about 31 or so scholarship recommendations, and so getting them often. And so I feel very confident, and so does Ms. Martin and her team, that we'll surpass the $3.2 million, and that's outstanding work on our senior class. So, thank you.
Now we'll go into the UIL primary and intermediate recognitions. Ms. Garza and Ms. Huber.
I have my primary friends, if you're outside, and intermediate friends, we'll do primary first.
While Ms. Garza